The thing is with the Giants, I do really care. I love the San Francisco Giants. And it's Bonta Hill, Joe Shasky, Morning Roast if you're out there driving. And I hear you. And I'm not saying that you got to hit free agents and you got to sign 1 billion guys and that's the only way to have success. I'm just looking at this team. I think it's so obvious they're going to have a down cycle. And I felt so positive coming off of last year, even though we lost in a heartbreaking, devastating way. And then I look at the prospects because I really think that it's not just a Giants thing. I think this is a baseball problem right now. The lack of having a minor league system in 2020 and all the COVID stuff has really dramatically affected all the levels of the minor leagues. And there's a lot of guys that are just behind the 8 ball. And so when you're a team like the Giants and you are so heavily invested in improving your farm system, I just think that farm system, and it's not their fault, I'm saying all of baseball, it's taking a step back because guys just they missed out on a whole year of development.
Not good. Not good. And the biggest domino is Joey Bart. What to do with Joey Bart? What do you do with Joey Bart?
Is he still a prospect to you? Is 25 years old a prospect?
No, I'm eager to see him play like a full month.
I'm with you. I want
to see him play a full month.
And it's crazy how like everything was resting on his shoulders just a couple years ago. And now
we've forgotten about him.
Yeah.
It's like we don't expect anything from him.
Exactly.
But if I could get like 25 from him, 25 jacks, like what's the problem with him? What was the big knock on him so far?
Well, he had a hole in his swing and he couldn't drive the ball. I mean, it's just plain and simple. He came up, there was no minor league system like we were saying, and I had no problem with Buster sitting that 2020 year out, him playing. And I don't hold any of that against him.
Right.
Like, I really don't. The thing that I hold against him right now is that he's 25, and he hasn't had a taste of the big leagues, and we just don't know. That's not even his fault.
Yeah, no, it's not his fault at all. I was just taking a look at the 2023 free agents and what could be out there, and maybe the Giants are waiting on that. I mean, it's too early to start talking free agency in 2023. We're in spring training in 2022. But I'm looking at like guys like Jorge Soler, who they didn't want to sign.
Yeah.
With the 2 DHs, I thought with the universal DH, it would change some of the mindset.
I'm with you.
Alter the thinking of Farhan Zaidi. Thing is I'm intrigued with this season because I want to know what Farhan's plan is. I don't know what his plan is. Obviously, replenishing the farm system and building from the farm. Okay, that's one aspect of the plan.
Yes.
But what is his plan in terms of signing free agents, giving big money contracts out? We know he can swing deals. He swung a deal for Chris Bryant and gave up nothing.
Yeah, but
gave up nothing.
That was a deadline deal, and I'm very impressed with that.
Very impressed.
And he also has shown an ability to shed payroll, like getting rid of Melanson, which is absolutely a skill.
And find diamonds in the rough. Lamont Wade Jr., that's a big-time move right there. You give LaStella a cheap deal when LaStella was healthy. LaStella wasn't bad.
So we agree. Around the perimeter, in terms of being a day trader and working the roster and rounding it out for the 162, he is really good at that.
He's really good.
Here's where my biggest question with Farhan is. Can you find a pillar of the organization? Because right now, when they had the 107 wins, the pillars of that team were Crawford, Belt, and Posey, all guys from the prior regime.
Right.
Now, I'm going to give them and Kapler, because I think Kapler and his crew deserve as much credit as Farhan, for getting those veterans to buy in and have career years.
Yeah.
They all get credit for that.
Right.
But can you identify your own and then develop them? Because you brought up something very astute, Monte. The Giants, although not a big spender in free agency in our recent 15-year run where we've been excellent, what they have done is develop their own, identify them at an early point, give them good extensions for the most part.
They kept their guys in-house.
Exactly.
The only guy they didn't do that for basically was like Pablo Sandoval.
Well, Lincecum kept going the 1-year deals.
And he got his big money, though. But he got his big money. He was getting 20 per.
No, he was.
He was getting
his
cheese.
But he chose to not get a 5 or 6 year deal.
Right. He was getting his cheese. So look, I mean, when it comes to Bay Area GMs, and when you look around the landscape, because I want to see what Farhan does this year.
What are you going to judge him by? Is there a player?
I don't know.
Like if Luciano were to show up this year and he's spectacular, wouldn't you be like, okay, they know what they're doing? Conversely, if Luciano shows up this year and you see a little bit and you're like, oh, he's really far away.
What about Hunter Bishop? Isn't that a Farhan guy?
Hunter Bishop has been hurt. If you look at just the raw data, hurt. The numbers have not been good. He's missed a lot of time. He is a great example of someone who has missed out because of COVID.
All right. What about the catcher from NC State, Philip Bailey, I want to say? Or
Patrick Bailey. Patrick Bailey.
How's he doing right now?
Well, they have another catcher that actually Dalton Johnson of NBC wrote an article about Auerbach, who is like a utility man. He's like your super utility guy who we've seen in these games. Bailey caught a little on Saturday, and I believe he caught a little on Sunday as well, but only an inning or two here and there.
Right. So
but Bonta, he feels 2 years away.
Right. So a lot of these guys are 2 years away. And who are they going to sign to bridge that gap before they get 2 years away? Don't know. Like, Carlos Correa has an opt-out. What if that happens next season for the Giants? He also has injury concerns. Would you want to spend big money on a guy who's had injury concerns?
Totally fair.
You look at the class from next season, Colton Wong. Are you going to want him? Are you really?
Although I do like him for the Cardinals.
I do like him. So, you look at first base next season. Jose Abreu, Jesus Aguilar, Josh Bell, Gurriel. That's not bad. Those are some nice names right there. Carlos Santana for the cheap. Look, I don't know where the Giants are going to go here. Maybe they want to build from within, but I do know this. I do know this about the Giants. Larry Bear wants a star.
Yes.
So how much pressure is Larry Bear going to start to put on Farhan if this season goes awry, if the Giants struggle to a 500 record? What is Larry Bear going to do? He's not going to fire Farhan. He's not going to fire Kapler. But he may knock on the door and say, hey, look, we've had a bunch of Yastrzemskis. We had a bunch of Duggars. They're not really resonating with the market. They're not really resonating nationally. I need my big money player.
Well,
I need something to build around here. Will Larry Bear start to knock on Farhan's door, expecting him to lure in a star? Because remember, Larry Bear wanted Bryce Harper. Apparently, Farhan didn't really want him to give him. He didn't want to give him a 13-year deal.
I want to juxtapose this with the Niners in a minute, but I want to ask Sam, who's younger than you and I. Like, Sam, did you watch Barry Bonds at any moment? Because I think younger Giants fans view the Giants very different than how me and Bonta were. I would call me and Bonta pre-World Series Giants fans.
Dude, I grew up watching Barry Bonds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when the Bonds era was coming to an end, there was despair. Remember how like it was Pedro Feliz and nothing else around them. Remember that, Bonta?
Oh, I remember.
Okay. Do you remember how important Tim Lincecum was, young Sam, when Barry Bonds was coming to the end and he identified him as the freak?
Dude, so I was at Lincecum's first ever start on that Sunday night against the Phillies, and that's one of those nights I remember very, very well. And when he came out of the dugout to do his bullpen session, it was the first time I've ever seen a pitcher get a standing ovation walking to the bullpen to do his warm-ups.
He faced Cole Hamels in that game, I believe.
I believe so. It was a terrible start for him, too.
No, he gave up 5 early.
It was like 3 hits right off the bat, like hit, home run. It was like dismal. But yeah, I mean, he was a big deal right off the bat, though.
So the point that I'm going at is you had the Barry Bonds era, and he was the biggest star that the team outside of Willie Mays has ever had, right? By far.
Yep.
And then immediately followed with the Tim Lincecum era. Immediately followed by the World Series era. You know what I mean? Even though they overlapped, essentially. Right. And then you created stars in the Belts and the Canes and the obviously Buster Posey. What are they going to do as like an encore here? Who is going to take that baton from these guys?
Don't know.
Because they've had it pretty good since Bonds left, Bonta.
Yeah,
Marco Luciano?
Yeah, well, he's a while away.
It feels like he's a year.
Sam, how long has Luciano got until he comes to the big league squad?
I mean, Luciano's probably like a year or two away, but I mean, again, even there was a time when Lincecum was a year or two away.
Let me ask you this. Is Luciano going to come take over the baseball world like, say, Ronald Acuna Jr., like a Juan Soto? Is he that level of a player?
He's 6'2", big and strong, and he's got a great arm. He's got a lot of swagger. When you listen to the ball off the bat, when they do the videos,
different.
It does sound different.
But he's going to have that impact.
I don't know.
Ronald Acuna Jr. came up with the Atlanta Braves and just tore things up.
I know.
Alex Bregman
but
got caught up.
those guys are outliers.
So is Luciano an outlier?
It's impossible for me to even know that answer.
I've been hearing about Marco Luciano now for 2.5 years.
It almost feels unfair.
I mean, is he an outlier? The way people talk about him, he's an outlier. Oh, wait till Luciano comes up. Comes up.
Steven, was there buzz in spring training? Because you were down there this weekend. Was there buzz when any of the younger players stepped to the plate?
Mostly when Joey Bart, because people were curious to see him. Okay. Marco Luciano for sure.
Yeah.
Luis Matos, but that was just me being the one who was egging.
What about Ramos? Because he played a lot this weekend.
A little bit with Ramos, not so much with Ramos.
Yeah.
Everyone was kind of tuned out of the game at that point. I mean, there were a few innings and you're just enjoying spring training.
Let's break real quick. Save that thought. Brooks Kubina from the Houston Chronicle joins us at 7:20. We'll ask him if he sees a potential fit for Jimmy Garoppolo with the Houston Texans now to Deshaun Watson is a Cleveland Brown. Plus, we'll talk some Warriors here. Warriors and Magic today, 4:30 start, or is it a 4 p.m. start? I got the day off. I don't even remember. Let me get this right. Let me make sure our listeners know that
4
they're playing.
p.m. Bonta.
4 p.m. It's
at
4 p.m.
the Amway Center,
Yeah, Amway
400
Center.
West Church Street, 200.
Amway Center, yeah, that's our new arena down in Orlando.
I've got it on my calendar.
Yeah, there you go. Amway Center. It's a nice gym.
Call yourselves professionals.
I know we're not really professional. All right, more coming up on the roast, more baseball. Plus, we'll get into John Lynch and this whole fib about. Let's get into that coming up here. The Jimmy G saga, Farhan Zaidi, all that stuff coming up on the morning roast. Brought to you by BMW Fairfield, now open in the Fairfield Auto Mall. They provide a luxurious, all-encompassing experience to address all of your BMW needs. Visit BMWFairfield.com today to book your visit. That's BMWFairfield.com.